The Assassin's Cunning, Assassin Without a Name Book 2 by Scott Marlowe. Act 1, Black Guards Reprisal Part 1. Moonless nights are always the best nights for an ambush. They're also the best for transporting illicit goods you don't want the authorities knowing anything about. Too bad for the 6 Black Guardsmen traipsing down the dark lane below that I'm not the authorities. Black cloaks, hoods, gloves, and boots. You'd think they were escorting a funeral procession. But though they moved slowly, it was only because they matched the pace of the mechanized carriage they escorted. A single driver manned the carriage, and while I knew little about the transport's payload, I knew it was important. That didn't matter, though. I wasn't here for Gwendolyn Goddard's latest infernal invention. I was here for the Guardsmen. If this was a heist, I would have arranged a blockade to slow or stop their progress, or a distraction to create confusion. But this was a much simpler operation, requiring a different sort of execution altogether. Planting my left foot securely at the roof's edge, I waited until I saw their backs before pulling a single barbed arrow from my quiver. With a practiced motion, I set the arrow on my composite bow, drew the string back, and chose a target. Who died first didn't matter, so I chose the nearest mercenary. Then I took in a breath, exhaled slowly, and loosed. "Gah!" the guardsman cried out as the barbed missile plunged into his back. I repeated the routine, drawing, knocking, aiming, and loosing again, causing a second guardsman to cry out in surprise and pain before the other 4 realized what was happening. Their reaction was swift, practiced, and predictable. 2 took cover behind the still-moving wagon, while the other 2 spun around behind their shields and tried to determine my location. Though there wasn't much to shoot at with their shields in the way, I took aim anyway, loosing a barbed arrow that impacted the intended target with a satisfying thunk. Tossing my bow aside, I leaped from my rooftop perch to land on the top of the carriage. The driver spun around to face me with a club ready, and while I admired his dedication, I still slashed his throat open with one of my long knives. Clutching at the wound, he instinctively tried to stem the tide, but that never worked, so while he died and fell from the carriage, I dropped to the ground to deal with the others. Even with no driver, the carriage kept rolling along, turning precisely at the next street to stay on course. Rounding that corner was just what I needed to keep the 2 pairs of guardsmen separated, so as I engaged the 2 hiding behind their shields, the other 2 gifted me precious seconds by running around the carriage. Fighting 2 opponents instead of 4 made my job easier, but these 2 had the advantage of heavier armor, shields, and better reach with their long swords. The grins on their faces told me they knew it too. Or maybe it was because they knew my best weapons, my long knives, weren't a match for their heavy.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?